Ladies and gentlemen, it's good to see you all. Shalom to everybody in the chat. Well, it looks like these right wingers are making the rounds, especially on our channels. And I guess they think they're going to force our hand into showing respect for Charlie. And I'm here to tell you, you're not going to force nothing. The bottom line is the way Charlie spoke about us, y'all shouldn't even be coming around us. That's the way I see it. You are getting people fired. Well, what about people that don't have jobs? You know, and let me tell y'all something. You might have had it that way years ago, chattel slavery, where our people felt like they had no choice but to show respect to a bunch of demons. But today we do have choices. And somebody sent me a video of Charlie sprouting wings and going to the gates of heaven. That is idolatry. We don't do idolatry over here. That's stuff y'all do. Y'all glorify and worship each other. We don't do that. We may be fond of each other and we may love each other, but we don't glorify each other, but y'all do. Y'all are straight up worshiping and glorifying Charlie Kirk. If you were really a Christian, you would know you don't do that. You don't practice any kind of idolatry, whether it is stone, wood, or a human being. This is why when you get into things like cults, things don't turn out right because you're not supposed to take somebody as a leader and then start glorifying them. It always results in disaster. Always. I have never seen an instance where it didn't. And you're now being sick about Charlie. Charlie was one person, and there was nothing about him that was extraordinary. He was a man with a lot of racist views. And you can't badmouth us from campus to campus and then turn around and look for respect. What kind of garbage is this? So, let me talk a little more about the parallels that I see. Ladies and gentlemen, Charlie did not realize how much of the things that he spoke that literally came to pass on his very last day of life on this earth. The very last day of life, so many things happened, and I don't know how many of you caught it. I know I did, and I know I can't be the only one. But you folks on the right, y'all need to really do a lot of soul searching because obviously we do not honor the same power. We don't. Y'all, whatever God, because y'all call him God, whatever God you are praying to, it's got to be way different from the one that I'm praying to. Okay. We are definitely worshiping two different gods. If you're going to create some AI of Charlie with some angel wings on him flying to the gates of heaven, then we obviously do not honor the same God because the one I honor, we don't do stuff like that. If something happened to me today, I do not expect my subscribers to get my image, put wings on me, and have me flying around because that's unrealistic. It doesn't happen, and they're not supposed to idolize me. In fact, I forbid it. I don't want anybody that's a Hebrew idolizing me. You're not supposed to do it, and I don't want you to do it at all. So Charlie spoke a lot of things. And, in fact, everything he spoke on what he called the Black community was negative. Everything was negative. Everything. He never said one positive thing about our group. So let's look at the parallels. Now, I looked at someone that had a avatar. Half of the face was Dr. Martin Luther King, and the other half of the face was Charlie Kirk. These two men were very different from each other. One man was fighting for his people. The other man was spreading hate. One man, even towards the end of his life, realized what he was trying to do was wrong. Integrating us was wrong. The other man never realized his hatred was wrong. He never realized it. So let's get into it. Now, if you want to compare Dr. Martin Luther King to Charlie Kirk, let me give you the appropriate comparison. Charlie Kirk, in fact, I don't know if it was 2023 or 2024, on Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday, he proceeded to trash this man on his podcast. And I remember, a couple of us did videos on it too, how he was trashing MLK. The only thing that those two men got in common, they were both assassinated. See, Charlie, one thing about the Most High, he don't forget what you say, what you do, and what you feel, that hate you feel in your heart. So, since you talk so bad about Dr. Martin Luther King, you got assassinated too. The angels keep record of what you do on a regular basis. And everything you wanted for us happened to you that day. So you and Dr. Martin Luther King, the only thing you got in common, you were both assassinated. And the similarities end right there. Now, another thing, I had to put this list together because to, I didn't want to forget anything. Now, you spoke heavily about black on black crime. That was another talking point you use from each college campus to the next. And look at the irony. You got taken out by a white person. You spoke about black on black crime, and white on white crime happened to you on your final day. That's what happened to you. And, they keep saying it's your political views. Actually, it's not your political views. You were a pulverizing individual, and you were racist. That's what did you in. It was no political views. It was not political views. Dude was not even a politician. Then you proceeded to always raise the fact that black men and fatherless homes. Well, Charlie Kirk, since you're no longer here, your wife and children are now in a fatherless home. See how that work? You see how much happened to you on that one day. Your family. they're now in a fatherless home. See, when my heavenly Father come with the judgment, he don't play. He don't play. And then you always brought up the 1351, the violence in the Black community, the violence in the Black community. But here's the thing, if violence did not exist in the white community, you should be alive today. But obviously, violence took you out. And it also opened the door. And I think this is why a lot of them are upset too, because now it opened the door for people to start looking at all of the violence that's happening in the white community. And Charlie Kirk never spoke about the violence from his own community, which is far greater than crime in the quote unquote Black community. It's far greater. So violence took you out, the violence that you kept harping on about the Black community. And look at the irony. Nobody from the Black community touched a hair on your head, but someone white picked up a rifle that had hate in their heart for you, and we see the end result of that. He also said it was okay for people to lose their lives to gun violence. And he harped on the Second Amendment. And guess how he lost his life? See, my Heavenly Father, he's never going to forget the words that you speak. And you got killed in probably one of the whitest states in America. I looked and they said only, I think, 2% of the population in Utah is Black. 2%, y'all. That's it. 2%. So it ain't hardly any of us there at all. Now, what we're looking at is the right trying to rewrite his life. And they're completely, blatantly just erasing all of the hateful things he said on these college campuses. And he did not live his life in a positive way, but you want us to remember something that never existed about this guy. You want us to remember something that never existed about him. Now, even he said he don't like empathy. Oh, well, so how are we wrong by not showing any empathy? Isn't that what he said he don't like? Why would we sit around and give something he didn't like? He said it right out of his mouth. He don't like empathy. So if we don't give any, then how are we wrong? How are we wrong if we don't give him empathy that he claimed he don't like? Just asking questions. Now, they're all over social media trying to get anybody that made a disparaging video about Charlie Kirk, although he said many disparaging things. And these same people did not question, nor did they challenge any of the disparaging things Charlie said in life. And what you're doing is very unrealistic because in life, There's always going to be people you like, and it's always going to be people you don't like. That is pretty much the norm for most of us walking this earth. There are going to be people that like you, there's going to be people that don't like you. And that is not going to be an exception to the rules for Charlie. It's going to be the same way for him. It's going to be you far right wing people that really liked him. And then it's going to be other people that may not care for him. That's life. That's life. Let's take Dr. Martin Luther King. We know everybody didn't like Dr. Martin Luther King. Do you see us running around talking about either you like Dr. Martin Luther King or we going to get you fired from your job? Do you see us doing that? We can't force you to like anybody or dislike anybody. These are the normal things that occur in life. Instead of running around doing that, why don't you all, since you had so much love, y'all can bond together and remember Charlie as he was. And I know a lot of people are saying they're disappointed in many of the white people that they are hearing talk about Charlie because they're noticing, even some of our brothers and sisters that had white friends, they're noticing how their white friends like this racist. And they're very open about saying how much they like Charlie. And many of them are saying they're now disappointed in their white friends. It is what it is. So now what do you do about that white friend? Do you continue to be their friend? Or do you see the writing on the wall and realize who they really truly are? They're showing you who they are. Okay. They're showing you right in your face who they are and who they favor and who they agree with, and just know friends are a dime a dozen. You can always get another friend, but that's up to you. Either you get and have more respect for yourself and realize, hey, this person likes all kinds of folks that are racist. So, do I continue the friendship or not? And I'm seeing some online saying they're disappointed in their white friends. Yeah, I'm sure you are. But you know what? Sooner or later, you have to see these people for what and who they are. So, So people cannot express themselves on a video whether they like Charlie or not. But Charlie, when he was alive, he could say whatever he want. That's why a lot of folks are saying they see a lot of hypocrisy going on. And there is. Now, his wife Erica in her speech that a lot of people were disturbed by said that he was trying to show love. Now, I never saw this love. I don't know about the rest of y'all. He was trying to show love. He was a Christian. Well, I don't know how to take Christianity from white people, and I'm being candid with you. The Klan said they were Christians. Okay, they said they're Christians. They burn crosses. They still burn crosses, right? And on top of burning crosses, people are still getting lynched even to this very day. And I remember when I was doing my family tree, y'all, most lynchings occurred on a Sunday afternoon when these folks got out of church. And I did not know this until I started doing my family tree. When I started doing my family tree, I started going through a lot of the records on lynchings just to see whether or not I had any relatives that were lynched. And one thing I noticed about all of it were they were most of them, the majority were lynched on a Sunday afternoon. These folks did not feel they were doing anything wrong by lynching our people. So they didn't care. So they didn't care. And they kept meticulous records on these lynchings, y'all. If you go to, especially in the South, they got court documents, very old court documents that you can read and look through on people that got lynched. And you can even look at all the people that got lynched in the county. Now, I looked in Coffee County. My grandmother on my father's side, they lived in Coffee County down there in Georgia. There were so many lynchings in Coffee County, my stomach was churning. I couldn't believe how it was like not a week went by where they weren't lynching somebody. You know, you can look at all this stuff, y'all. It's out there for everybody to see. So those folks claimed they were Christian too. So pardon me if I'm not impressed that Charlie was a Christian. I just don't understand how somebody's a Christian and they're still going on all these college campus being racist. I guess it is what it is. I guess a Christian to a white person is far different than what a Christian is to me. That's how I have to chalk that up. Y'all see Christianity different from us. It's definitely not the same. So, the moral of the story is in this whole thing, the point I'm trying to make, the Most High can make everything you say happen to you. And that's exactly what he did to Charlie. Everything Charlie said on that final day of Charlie's life, he made it happen to Charlie. That's what he did. This is why when it comes down to judgment, the Most High wins 100% of the time. He hasn't lost yet, and he will always be the victor. And y'all don't know what you're headed for. We are in uncharted times. We are in final end times. And the things that you might have gotten away with before, you're going to see you're not getting away with that stuff ever again. People that might have listened to you before, those folks are not going to listen to you anymore. In fact, I was looking at a couple of videos back when our people decided not to go out and protest anymore. And I saw one white woman, and I would have got this video, but she had mainstream music on it. And she said, "We done lost the black community." That's what she said in the video. When we stopped going out protesting, that woman sat on the video and said, "We lost the black community. We lost them." Yeah. Nobody is going out there no more. And they know now. They know we aren't going out there on nobody else's behalf protesting. Yeah, that's what she said. She said, "We lost Our Black brothers and sisters, we lost them, and she knows we're not coming back. She knows we're not coming back. We're not gonna be holding anybody, coddling anybody, making sure they're all right, caring about them above ourselves. They know, many of them know we are not coming back. We're never coming back. And if you notice, they tried, the Latinos tried, they all tried to get us out in these streets, and we have never gone out in these streets. Now, you got a couple of diehards among them, and they, wanted to get this race war kicked off, and they thought Charlie Kirk's assassinator was somebody that looked like us. And to be honest with you, the way they sound disappointed. And I notice none of them are dragging Tyler Robinson. Do y'all notice that? When they thought it was possibly us, which I don't know why y'all thought it was us. We don't even have a track record of assassinations. Y'all do. Okay. White men do, but we don't have that track record. So I don't even know why you thought it was us in the first place, but they wanted to use that as an excuse for race war. And some of them are still trying to cling to that radical left stuff. We don't care about that. Our community, we don't care about that left right stuff. White people care about that. We don't care about that left and right crap because at the end of the day, you both have been racist to us. Both of you, right, left, independent, it don't matter. You all have been that way towards us. So what difference does it make to us? We don't care about that. Y'all care about that crap. We don't care about that at all. So how come y'all not making any videos dragging Tyler Robinson? But you were all on the video dragging the radical left, the radical left. You know why I think y'all are not dragging Tyler? Number one, you are embarrassed. Number two, you're staying on code. You're staying on code. And the bottom line is, how come y'all, if you are so into Christianity, here's another question for you white Christians. If you are so much into Christianity, how come when you went after the HBCUs and realized nobody from the HBCUs had anything to do with what happened, how come y'all didn't just come out and apologize? You didn't. None of you did. So, what kind of Christian are you anyway? Seriously, what kind of Christian are you? So, if you can't even right the wrong of something that simple, then I don't expect good things from you as a Christian. I don't expect, in fact, I don't expect nothing decent from you as a Christian. You're just completely just went silent. But y'all, it just goes to show you, if it was us, they would have been on full attack. But now that the face of the killer looks like theirs, and he was on the same team, on that right wing team they are on, they have gone silent. They don't have not one disparaging thing to say about Tyler Robinson. And if they are, you're not going on video like you did when you were talking about us and the left. You weren't, you sure ain't you ain't taking it to that extreme. So when the one that takes out Charlie, looks like Charlie, and he's on Charlie's team and had disdain for Charlie. That's why he did it. Y'all went silent. I will never forget it. Y'all went silent. The only thing you're doing now, and I think is it really believe it's a deflection. You're running around trying to get everybody fired that talks bad about Charlie. I really think that's a deflection because still, if you get people fired, you're still not dealing with the root cause. And that is you got an internal problem. The problem is within your people. And getting people fired, that means you're still not dealing with the root cause of the problem. And what ended up getting Charlie unalive. You're still not dealing with the problem. So now you're jumping in comment sections and going on live streams of my melanated brothers and sisters that's still not dealing with your problem. That means you're still you're still deflecting and you're still not dealing with the root cause of what's wrong, and that's your people. And why y'all got so much gun violence among you, and why these red states are the most violent in all of America. Crimes in the red states surpass anything going on in Chicago, and you're not dealing with it. So when the killer is a white male, you don't want to talk about it. You don't want to talk about it. But if we do something, you want to talk about it all day long. Yeah, that don't look very Christian-like. Don't look very Christian-like at all. So I just wanted to say these words because y'all, these people are never going to deal with what's happening. And the only thing that's going to happen, whatever's going on with them within their community, is going to continue to get worse. It's not going to get better. And I don't expect it to get better in these final days anyway. And plus, we're getting ready to go into our Day of Atonement in about a week. At least I am. I'm going to do the 23rd into the 24th. And these folks don't atone for anything they have done. You don't even hear them talking about atoning or repenting. You don't even hear those words from these people, which tells you they have no intentions of ever doing it. And those few that do it, those folks are like the diamond in the rough, because it won't be many. It will not be many of them at all. Yeah, and the FBI is acting like they caught this guy. No, if it wasn't for his father turning him in, I don't believe they would have him to this very day. They would still be out on their manhunt. Cash Patel is a very incompetent man. Donald Trump appointed a man that had zero experience as an FBI agent or even law enforcement. He had no experience. They had no clue to what Tyler Robinson even looked like, y'all, other than a few still shots. But they weren't close to tracking him down at all. I don't believe that. The father, if it wasn't for his father talking him into turn, because they said his father talked him into it. Initially, they said Tyler did not want to do it, but his father convinced him to turn himself in. And y'all, one thing they haven't told you in the news, since they got Tyler, do you know he's not talking? They said he won't talk. Since they've had him in custody, like his family are talking, his friends are talking, but Tyler himself, they said Tyler has not spoken one word since they had him in custody. He won't speak or claim to be guilty or not. He will not speak to the authorities. And they don't even have that really in the news, but he's not speaking at all. So the only thing they're getting, only information they're getting are from people like family and a couple of his friends. But Tyler himself, they said they can't get nothing out of him. He ain't budging. So there you go. Mhm. Now, I don't know if he's lawyered up. I haven't heard much about it. He could be. He could be, but he's not talking. They said since they've had him in custody, he has not spoken one word to the authorities. When they try to interrogate him, he won't open his mouth. He stays silent. Mhm. Well, so y'all, let me thank a few of you. Backup Trick 44, thank you for the 52-month membership. The Most High has our backs and will guide our path. All praises to the Most High. Yes, I definitely agree with that. And thank you for your support for my channel. And the Crawford Experience, thank you for your super chat. These folks that call themselves Christians are frauds. Yes, the vast majority of them definitely are. That is the truth. And thank you for your support for my channel. Mhm. Well, we'll see what kind of defense they will have. We know this is going to trial because, their beloved Charlie Kirk is no longer here. So we know this case is definitely going to trial. Now, what will happen leading up to that? I don't know. But you know what? At the end of the day, y'all, we ain't going to be talking about this stuff too much longer. We're going to get on with life. And I think what's going to happen, it's going to kind of fizzle out for a while. And then when it gets close to trial and when the trial is going on, the chatter will probably hit at fever pitch again for those on the right because they seem to be the only ones that care. So the chatter will kick up again among them. Mhm. Well, yeah, they always, Lisa Gibson, you ain't never lie. They always pulling up that mental illness defense. You're right about that. They seem to be the only ones that are allowed to be mentally ill. Nobody else is allowed to be mentally ill. At least with our people, they got real mental illness. Okay, just like Jordan Neely, he really had a track record. He had medical records that said he was mentally ill. When they say they're mentally ill, they just trying to get out of a crime. Okay, we really got it, and they're just trying to use it to get out of a crime. So, y'all, please enjoy the rest of your day. I might be coming back on another topic. There's a few things I'm looking at. So be on the lookout. But in the meantime, have a wonderful day. Shalom, family.